starting from the performance department of Class 02 at the Film Academy. Zhang Yuanjun swore to be a good actor, to be an actor with even greater fame than his classmate Liu Yifei. Keywords of the novel. Actor. My Entertainment Era No Pop-Ups, actor. My Entertainment Era Complete Collection Download, actor. My Entertainment Era Latest Chapter Reading. Chapter 1. Starting from the Film Academy, you are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 1. Starting from the Film Academy, when Zhang Yuanjun announced his intention to compete for the role of Gui Haidao in The First Under Heaven. Not only did Zhu Yan, Luo Jin, and others in the same dormitory feel that he was talking big, but even other classmates in the class thought it was impossible. Class teacher Wang Jinsong sighed and said he was powerless. Nowadays, Hong Kong and Taiwan celebrities dominate the market, and ticket sellers are dominated by Hong Kong and Taiwan actors. However, according to the co-production regulations, there must be one mainland actor among the male and female protagonists, which allows many mainland actors to film scenes directed by Hong Kong and Taiwan directors. As Wang Jing's first drama To Go North, The First Under Heaven, is also a popular martial arts theme. Since its announcement, it has attracted a lot of attention from audiences and the media. Until now, the industry generally knows what story The First in the World tells. The four major spies have already identified two mainland actors, Li Yaping and Yi Xian. The other two main characters, following the style of the Hong Kong and Taiwan teams, will definitely not give mainland actors another chance. It's not that there are no mainland male actors who have the idea of returning to the sea, and the production team also calls it fair recruitment, but none of the mainland actors can pass the audition. In the eyes of others, Zhang Yuanjun, a sophomore in college, undoubtedly had a dream of returning to the sea. Wang Jinsong, the head teacher, also advised him to give up. If you want to play, I recommend you to play a supporting role in a unit of Liaozhai. Wang Jinsong is really speechless about Wang Jing's crew. Moreover, based on the scripts currently available, there are many scenes in the movie One Blade Return to the Sea, and the characters are very outstanding. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is the male lead. How difficult it is to film now. Zhang Yuanjun wanted to play the male lead of Wang Jing from the beginning. Isn't his tone a bit loud? Even if you take big steps, you are not afraid to pull your eggs. But Zhang Yuanjun refused to listen to advice and also refused the teacher's recommendation of his kindness to the crew of Strange Tales from a Chinese studio. I just want to play the role of a hero, Zhang Yuanjun said boldly in his dormitory. I also want to play Yang Guo and Guo Jing. Who wouldn't want to play the roles of Yang Guo and Guo Jing, said the roommate with a wave of white eyes. I heard that Zhang Damao is going to film The Legend of the Condor Heroes. I don't know who said that. Having tasted the sweetness of The Legend of the Condor Heroes, I'm sure I'll take advantage of the heat to film The Legend of the Condor Heroes. Zhu Yan pursed his lips. I don't know who will play Yang Guo and Little Dragon Girl in the end. Zhang Yuanjun was left hanging on the side and said with a bitter smile, hey, I'm going for an interview and going back to sea with a knife. Just face it, you can't face it anyway. The villager stabbed him when he saw him. As a fellow villager in Gan province, Luo Jin doesn't mind stabbing Zhang Yuanjun. Why can't I face it? Is it because of my poor appearance, bad temperament, or poor acting skills? Gui Haidao is a facial paralysis, and I can't perform it. Zhang Yuanjun argued for himself. Do people look at their looks, temperament and acting skills? How many actors with good looks and acting skills went to audition before, and the results were good? The four spies used two mainland actors, and the other two must be from Hong Kong and Taiwan. Zhu Yan got up and took a sip of hot water from his water cup. If I were to say, you might as well go to the Liaozhai crew to play a supporting role. It's a good opportunity. We can't ask for Teacher Wang's recommendation. You should go down the slope for a bargain. Zhang Yuanjun knew his roommate was telling the truth, but he just didn't give up and just wanted to play the role of a hero. I'll prepare now, I don't believe I can't handle him. Take care of who? Wang Jing. He's a producer, and we may not even meet him. How can you take care of him? We need to make our roommates recognize reality and give up unrealistic fantasies. Zhang Yuanjun confidently said that the mountain people had their own clever plans, and then walked out of the dormitory, ready to go. Does Zhang Yuanjun have a clever plan? There's a fart. He was reborn for at least half a year before finally adapting to campus life and the childish faces of his classmates. In my last life, I didn't work in the entertainment industry, that is, I played several supporting roles with the teacher's recommendation during my school days. After graduation, I was taken home by my father and arranged to be placed in the local TV station. With an iron rice bowl, I was dutiful to my parents. Afterwards, Zhang Yuanjun learned from his classmates about the regret of his homeroom teacher Wang Jinsong for not acting, saying, "That's a pity for such a good seedling." The biggest feeling of returning to campus is not the surprise of a long separation and reunion, but the unfamiliarity. He has been away from school for many years, and after graduation, he rarely comes to the capital. Returning to the dormitory now and seeing my classmates again is a very unnatural unfamiliarity and a mature sense of superiority among you little brats. But youth is always beautiful. Let's start over again, at least Zhang Yuanjun thinks it's not bad. I also quickly adapted to campus life. He's just not very willing to play with his classmates anymore. The students in the film academy have a rich range of entertainment activities. But for Zhang Yuanjun at this time, he had eaten and played with too many things, and he no longer had much interest in them. What he is thinking now is to strive to take one or two memorable roles before graduation, so that his parents can see that he chose this path correctly and can make some achievements. In this way, they won't have the confusion of, is there a profession to teach acting, and even take themselves home recklessly. Returning to the issue of returning to the sea with one knife. Zhang Yuanjun really doesn't have a clever plan. My classmates and teachers are right. After the four major spies have identified two mainland actors, it is almost impossible to install another mainland protagonist at this moment. Why say almost, not completely impossible? Because this play is directed by Wang Jing. At that time, people may still have filters for Wang Jing, who is known as a Hong Kong film director and a commercial genius. But Zhang Yuanjun is too aware of the temperament of these Hong Kong Island commercial directors. Business, in other words, is it money? What can't they do when the money is in place? But the question is, where can I get the money? My parents are not opposed to learning to perform, but they don't have much support either. It's a bit difficult to get money from them. He is not very shy either. I have saved 20,000 yuan in advertising and music videos over the past year and 2 years. This is not enough. Borrow from friends in the capital city. They do have money, but they gather more because of their shared interests and do not mix much money with each other. It's a bit difficult for them to open their mouths and borrow money from others. Hey, why is the old man so strict about me when he's wealthy? Zhang Yuanjun sighed in front of the cold air at school. Now I can't even find a place to use money. The second generation of wealthy people can only be considered unique to me at this level. Zhang Yuanjun put his hands into his pockets and strolled around the school, trying to raise money. The leaves on both sides of the path have fallen off, revealing bare branches that tell the bitterness of winter. Pedestrians are rare on the road, especially clean and quiet. The winter in the north still makes Zhang Yuanjun, a southerner, uncomfortable. The heating is certainly very comfortable, but it's too dry. Zhang Yuanjun must have nosebleeds every winter. Kicking stones while walking on the road, Zhang Yuanjun was thinking about where to make money when he suddenly heard a female voice behind him calling out to him. Zhang Yuanjun. I could hear the surprise in my words, I've finally found you. The girl patted Zhang Yuanjun from behind and jumped up in front of him, smiling and smiling. Newcomers and new books, seeking everything. Chapter 2 at night. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Selling teammates. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Selling teammates. Students at this age can be very cheap and boring at times. Especially in the field of acting, when a group of handsome men and beautiful women are together, they can always spread some rumors and gossip. For example, after the military training at the beginning of the school year, there were rumors that Zhang Yuanjun and his classmate Zhou Yang were together, and it was Zhang Yuanjun who Zhou Yang had pursued backwards. The fact is, Zhou Yang did confess to himself that night, but he didn't agree. This matter was not disclosed to the public by Zhang Yuanjun, and somehow it spread. Also, it is said that Zhu Yan has a crush on Liu Yifei. This is quite groundless, for some reason. As a roommate, Zhang Yuanjun does feel that Zhu Yan treats Liu Yifei differently from other female classmates. But then again, who doesn't like Liu Yifei? Liu Yifei stood in front of her now, smiling happily. Zhang Yuanjun felt that she had nothing good to do with herself. Glancing at her, he continued walking forward, teasing her as he walked. The big star has returned, the filming is over. Liu Yifei really rarely comes to school, and Zhang Yuanjun has never seen her a few times. No, Liu Yifei walked next to Zhang Yuanjun. This is not about the end of the semester. The production team has released me for the exam. Zhang Yuanjun sneered without hesitation. Oh, you know you're taking an exam. I thought you forgot you were a student. As a classmate and a big star, Zhang Yuanjun naturally pays close attention to Liu Yifei. Although studying at the film academy was for the sake of making a name for herself, Liu Yifei's absence from class while filming outside still caused Zhang Yuanjun and some other classmates to have some opinions about her. Of course, he also knew that Liu Yifei would go back to school to make up for classes whenever she had time, and she got along well with her classmates. Liu Yifei paid no attention to Zhang Yuanjun's cold words and continued to follow with a smile. Where are you going? I'll go to the cafeteria for dinner, said Zhang Yuanjun. Eating too much in the cafeteria is boring. I'll treat you to a small stove, Liu Yifei warmly invited. How about hot pot? It's such a cold day, eat something hot and spicy. Zhang Yuanjun is not so easy to deceive. If you have nothing to do, please be attentive. What do you really want to do? Liu Yifei shamelessly smiled and said, it's okay, it's okay. Why don't we just have a meal? I can still kill you with medicine. Let's go, I've already booked my seat. Zhang Yuanjun is not worried that she will prescribe medicine for him, but based on his limited contact with Liu Yifei before, Liu Yifei is not the kind of girl who will take the initiative to invite people to eat. Today I stepped forward shamelessly, there must be something wrong. Wait a moment, Zhang Yuanjun realized something was wrong while sitting in the hot pot restaurant and said to Liu Yifei across from him, your mother is so strict with you, can you still come out and treat me to dinner alone? No matter she doesn't care about her, Liu Yifei waved her hand and politely handed Zhang Yuanjun a piece of meat. Eat while it's hot. Zhang Yuanjun ate it. Liu Yifei said, I didn't tell my mom about the exam when I came back for class. Zhang Yuanjun asked, why not say it? I'm almost 17 now, and she still manages me like that, not letting me go here or there, it's really annoying. Zhang Yuanjun, the person who came by, smiled and said that teenage girls are always so rebellious. During the banquet, Liu Yifei shared with Zhang Yuanjun, who had never been in the film crew before, her interesting experience of filming on the set of The Legend of Sword and Fairy. Also asked Zhang Yuanjun if anything has happened at school this semester. Zhang Yuanjun picked one or two and told her. At the end of the meal, Zhang Yuanjun had already started pouring tea for the two of them. Liu Yifei then said, Teacher Wang told me that I will still be in your group for the final sketch. Zhang Yuanjun poured the cup onto the table and said, I won't do it. I've almost finished queuing, you can insert it. No, you've eaten all the food. Liu Yifei still hasn't done it. I knew this meal wasn't that delicious. It's all my fault, I didn't ask clearly before coming over. Zhang Yuanjun rushed and said, I'm AA with you, I don't owe you this meal. No way. Liu Yifei wouldn't agree, Teacher Wang has already nodded. You must add me to this sketch. I finished queuing and walked the stage twice. How can I explain to Luo Jin and his team? Besides, what are you doing? I'm already full. Zhang Yuanjun tried to reason with Liu Yifei. But it's not reasonable for 17-year-old Liu Yifei to treat Zhang Yuanjun to this meal today. You can put me anywhere you want, I can't just leave the final report, can I? Liu Yifei was determined to insert a character in Zhang Yuanjun's sketch. Yowena can also play a supporting role. Go to him. I won't go. Liu Yifei raised her head and revealed a beautiful snow-white neck. Anyway, I don't care. Teacher Wang has already promised me to go to your group. I will come tomorrow when you leave the stage. Liu Yifei invited Zhang Yuanjun to have this meal, not to ask him to take her in as a member of the group, but to apologize for her reckless insertion of characters. Anyway, she was already in the group. What if we don't treat him to this meal? Do we still have to play a role? However, the meal still needs to be invited, after all, joining midway must be expressed. Liu Yifei was thinking of finding another reason to persuade Zhang Yuanjun to join the group when a knock came from outside the private room. Please come in, Zhang Yuanjun immediately responded. He didn't want to face Liu Yifei now and needed someone to come in and ease the awkward situation. It would be best if he could find an excuse to leave. Zhang Yuanjun's seat was facing the private door. As soon as he saw someone coming, he smiled and said to Liu Yifei, I'll go to the restroom. You're not allowed to run, Liu Yifei said. Don't run, why should I run with you, little girl? Zhang Yuanjun continued to smile and stood up. Liu Yifei watched him out, her eyes turned to the door, and her pupils trembled. This is a beautiful woman, her high curled hair and fair and beautiful face all show her decent temperament and proud character. But the angry expression on the woman's face at this moment made people feel that she would perform a full martial arts act on the girl in front of her at any time. Liu Yifei let out a weak cry and said, Mom, why did you come? Hee hee. Zhang Yuanjun smiled at Liu's mother and said, you guys talk, hee hee. Then take 3 steps in 2, step out of the door, and lead the door. I won't get involved in your mother's affairs as an outsider. Zhang Yuanjun finished using the restroom, bought the bill at the front desk, and then strolled back to school along the road. The next day, Zhang Yuanjun saw Liu Yifei in the rehearsal classroom. But Liu Yifei didn't have a good face towards him. She had an argument with her mother last night, and besides being angry with her mother all night, she was also angry with Zhang Yuanjun. Zhang Yuanjun turned his head and sold her. He is such a smart person, he must have known that his mother wouldn't spare him. He actually left with peace of mind. I don't know if I can come in and persuade you. For Liu Yifei's temporary joining, everyone welcomed her with their mouths, but they probably didn't like it in their hearts. They've been rehearsing for almost half a month now, adding whatever they say, disrupting all their previous rehearsals. But Zhang Yuanjun, as the group leader of the final performance, still said, we are all classmates, help each other. Let's take some time to arrange twice more. Luo Jin sat on the side and smiled, arrange it twice more. Last year, Yifei was going to be added, and that's what you said. You have a mouth, Zhang Yuanjun smiled and clapped his hands. Alright, let's rehearse. I'll treat you tonight. Okay, everyone laughed together. I sent the wrong book. This chapter was sent to the VIP of the old book. I'm sorry, I have contacted the editor to delete the chapter. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. My Duck Intestine. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. My Duck Intestine. Many people know that Zhang Yuanjun is going to fight for the role of returning to the sea with a knife. Although I didn't expect it, I still gave encouragement on the surface. But Liu Yifei had no good words for this matter, her mouth was very poisonous, and she didn't care at all about Zhang Yuanjun's acceptance. Can you fight? Can you make any moves? Zhang Yuanjun didn't expect Liu Yifei's mouth to be so venomous, or did he say that young girls at this age are like this? At the moment, he also retorted, I don't know how to fight, but I can learn. Whoever is born will learn, not all of them are learned. At the end of the day's rehearsal, to appease the dissatisfaction of her classmates, Liu Yifei hosted and invited the classmates in the group to have a meal. This was taught by my mother. My mother blamed her for running back from the crew without permission, but she didn't blame her for tutoring and rehearsing skits. Since it was a last-minute insertion into someone else's group, Liu's mother taught her daughter to put in enough effort on the surface. Be polite to others and treat everyone to dinner after rehearsal. Otherwise, she wouldn't have the brain to invite her classmates to dinner. The students' thinking is still very simple, they are all classmates, and there is not much conflict. Zhang Yuanjun and Liu Yifei had 2 meals a day, calming down the disharmony in the group. Moreover, Liu Yifei is one of the few people in her class who has acted before and has traveled abroad, so she has much more knowledge than them. Liu Yifei told them about the production team and intimidated them in just a few words. Why, don't you believe it? Liu Yifei just finished talking about what happened on the set of The Legend of Sword and Fairy a few days ago. Seeing Zhang Yuanjun's disdainful expression, she stared at him and said. Zhang Yuanjun pursed his lips and smiled, you're talking quite well. It's because you said that your play started without even the male lead, how can you believe it? Luo Jin and others present immediately agreed. It just turned on before the male lead was confirmed. We've been filming for a few days now, why am I deceiving you? Liu Yifei tried to make everyone believe his words. If you don't believe me, I'll take you to the production team to take a look when the holiday comes. Lu Fengxing timely asked her, what are your requirements for the male lead in this play? Luo Jin and several other boys also agreed and wanted to inquire. Listen to them, they want tall, handsome, and chivalrous. Liu Yifei finished speaking and scanned the male compatriots on the table. If you want to try, go give it a try. It's in Hengdian. These days, I've seen the director interview several waves of male actors. The male compatriots were very moved after hearing this. They immediately said that they would arrange to go to Hengdian for an audition when the end of the semester is off. It would be great if they could meet in person, but if they didn't, they would also go to the production team to have a look. Yuanjun, you should go too, Luo Jin said. I'm not going, I need to prepare to go back to the sea with a knife. Zhang Yuanjun picked up the duck intestines that Liu Yifei had just placed with his chopsticks. Try a few more, just play the role of the one you've tried. Lu Fengxing also wanted to take him to Hengdian. Just as Zhang Yuanjun was about to speak, Liu Yifei called out, where's my duck intestines? I just laid them down. Seeing that there was still a piece of duck intestines left in Zhang Yuanjun's bowl, he assumed that he had eaten them in advance, so he refused and said, you compensate me for the duck intestines. Compensation. To prevent Liu Yifei from spilling on the spot, Zhang Yuanjun immediately took the call and stood up to walk outside. Can I ask the waiter to add 2 more plates? Zhang Yuanjun went out to add vegetables and casually relieved himself. Liu Yifei thought for a moment and muttered, no, it's not right. I'm treating today, and he added 2 plates of duck intestines to me. What's going on? This favor has become his. Luo Jin laughed while eating and said, fighting him, you can't win. A few minutes later, Zhang Yuanjun came in with 2 large plates of duck intestines and said, I specifically asked them to give me more. These 2 plates are worth 3 plates. I still have to thank you, right? Liu Yifei said as she lowered her duck intestines. Thank you, it's not necessary. Don't hold us back from the rehearsal later, Zhang Yuanjun smiled. You. Why are you so annoying? Luo Jin added, you don't even know what you hate. As a roommate, he knows that Zhang Yuanjun hates too many things. A group of classmates were eating and drinking when the private door suddenly rang. Liu Yifei instinctively turned her head to look at the door. The door opened and a head popped in. Old Liu, the head of the hot pot restaurant, said he saw you, and I was thinking that you didn't have time to rehearse at school today. The newcomer had an ordinary appearance, dressed in ordinary clothes, was not tall but very strong, and had a friendly face. Zhang Yuanjun stood up and welcomed him, saying with a smile, "After the rehearsal, let's come out and have some food together." "How was your day?" The crowded classmates watched as Zhang Yuanjun chatted with this unfamiliar friend. "What else can we do? It's still those few," the person smiled. Zhang Yuanjun didn't give too much introduction, only said that they were all his classmates. The stranger greeted the crowd with a smile and said, "All right, take your time eating. I'll go over." "Okay, you go ahead. I'll come over later." As the person walked by, Zhang Yuanjun took the initiative to say, "A friend who runs a small business at home is in charge of the capital area." Zhang Yuanjun sat for a few minutes and indeed went out to greet his friends. "I stayed there for a few minutes and then came back." A group of classmates ate until 10 p.m. before leaving. Liu Yifei took the initiative to pay the bill, but was told that someone had paid for her. Sensitive Liu Yifei immediately realized that it was Zhang Yuanjun's group of friends who did a good deed. "It's okay," Zhang Yuanjun said, "just a meal, it's a big deal." The car that came to pick up Liu Yifei had already parked at the entrance of the hot pot restaurant. Zhang Yuanjun sold a box of huizi to the driver at a nearby convenience store and said, "Big brother, you've worked hard. You've come out so late to pick him up." As they spoke, they escorted Liu Yifei onto the car and watched as the car drove away before turning back. "Just walk back like this," Zhang Yuanjun said, taking out the key and shaking it. "Aren't you without a car?" "My friend just left me a car. It's so cold to walk back in this big winter." After Liu Yifei left, Zhang Yuanjun and 6 others, including a man and a woman, sat in a big jeep. Although it was a bit crowded, no one would care. 6 people hummed and drove back to school, but the security guard did not allow any external vehicles to enter at night. Zhang Yuanjun stuffed another pack of cigarettes, brushed his face back, and said he was from the performing arts department. "Oh, you're the school grass they're talking about." Unexpectedly, the security guard knew about Zhang Yuanjun. "Go in, don't wander outside so late." Zhang Yuanjun smoothly drove the car into the school and first escorted the girl to the dormitory downstairs. Then, he and Luo Jin, Lu Fangsheng and others returned to the boys' dormitory building. As the end of the year approaches and there are fewer classes, Zhang Yuanjun spends more time rehearsing and fundraising for the final presentation. He needs to prepare a sum of money to take care of Wang Jing. So, he rehearses during the day and goes to drink and enjoy the autumn breeze with his fox friends. As Liu Yifei puts it, "At night." But this group of people is very intelligent, they are good at eating meat and drinking alcohol, and it is extremely difficult to deduct money from their mouths. After more than a week of tinkering, Zhang Yuanjun's team passed the performance at the end of the deadline and only managed to raise 130,000 yuan. It's vacation now, and the students are going home. The running group is running, and the school will soon be empty. Zhang Yuanjun will stay in the capital for a few more days, but he still stays in his dormitory. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. The production team of Sword and Fairy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. The production team of Sword and Fairy. Thanks to the underdeveloped internet at this time, the wealthy second generation, as a group, have not yet been exposed to the public. But as far as Zhang Yuanjun comes into contact with the wealthy second generation, not to mention everyone, at least 80% of them are very cultured and particularly low-key. They either take over, start a business, or study, all have their own things to do. I really don't have that much time and energy to do 7 twists and 3 Zhang Yuanjun was also like this. Although he was loved the most since childhood, his upbringing was also strict, and he was often beaten. If it weren't for the reluctance of being a mother, one must be left by her side. Zhang Yuanjun would have gone abroad to study with her sister in 2002. His second-generation friends were very cautious about Zhang Yuanjun's loan request. It wasn't until Zhang Yuanjun left school and prepared to head south to go home that he managed to gather 200,000 yuan. There is also Zhang Yuanjun's own 50,000 yuan inside. Zhang Yuanjun did not go home directly, but stopped in Zhejiang province. I made an appointment with Liu Yifei, and others to go to the production team of The Legend of Sword and Fairy first, and then go home. Liu Jin and Zhu Yan have been staying in Hengdian for 3 days. The next day, they took the teacher's recommendation and approached the relevant person in charge of the production team, saying they wanted to try Li Xiaoyao. And then what? Zhang Yuanjun will stay in Hengdian for 1 night and depart home tomorrow afternoon. Tang Ren attaches great importance to this group of students from the film academy. Seeing that they are also classmates of the female lead Liu Yifei, he let them stay in the hotel where the crew stayed. Zhang Yuanjun and Luo entered a room. Then, just say let's go back and wait for the news, Luo Jin said. Zhang Yuanjun heard the disappointment in Luo Jin's tone and comforted him, just wait for the news. After all, he is the male protagonist, and we cannot let people watch or think for a few more days. Are you going back this year? Zhang Luo and his 2 companions are both from Gan province, with different cities in the same province, also known as fellow villagers. Luo Jin shook his head and said, I'm not going back. I'm looking for an opportunity in Hengdian this year. Watching Zhang Yuanjun calmly packing his luggage, Luo Jin asked, I noticed that you're not in a hurry at all. Everyone in your class has more or less been filmed. Although they're all small roles, at least they made an appearance on TV. It's good of you to go and shoot all the commercial videos. Who said I'm not filming? I'm going to compete and make a comeback. Talking about knives. Luo Jin never thought that Zhang Yuanjun would be able to return to the sea with a knife in his face. Zhang Yuanjun. Zhang Yuanjun. A loud shout came from outside the door. The 2 of them immediately knew it was Liu Yifei. Liu Yifei stood at their doorstep and didn't come in either. Are you not going on stage? I'm not so early today. Come with me now. Where are you going? You'll know when you go, Liu Yifei said as she stepped in, grabbed Zhang Yuanjun's arm, and walked out. Liu Yifei wore a pink down jacket today and sniffed, saying, Hengdian is really cold. Let me tell you, you're lucky. Zhang Yuanjun followed her and asked, what luck did I have? Mr. Kai wants to see you. Mr. Kai? Which Mr. Kai? Zhang Yuanjun doesn't know anyone surnamed Kai. Oh my, Mr. Kai from Tang Ren is the owner of the drama, Immortal Sword. So Zhang Yuanjun remembered, she saw me. I don't even know her. What can she do to find me? I didn't know, but it should be a good thing. I saw her holding your photo and information with a smile. Liu Yifei took him down to a small conference room on the 1st floor and said, go in. Show off well. Performance. What do you show? Before Zhang Yuanjun could finish speaking, Liu Yifei knocked on the door. A reply of, please come in, came from the door. Then Liu Yifei slipped away. If Zhang Yuanjun doesn't enter, he must also enter. Zhang Yuanjun doesn't know Kai Yinong in interpersonal relationships, but he knows what Mr. Kai looks like. Now Kai Yinong is sitting in front of him, along with Li Guoli and Wu Jinyuan. It can be said that the 3 most influential bosses of the production team of The Legend of Sword and Fairy are now sitting in front of Zhang Yuanjun. Zhang Yuanjun vaguely guessed what the 3 of them were looking for, but he didn't take it to heart. But politely greeted the 3 of them, and after Kai Yinong greeted him with a smile, he sat in front of them, his eyes always soft looking at Kai Yinong in the middle position. Zhang Yuanjun is not surprised by how Cai Yinong obtained his information. Cai Yinong kindly said to Zhang Yuanjun, I knew you when I enrolled in 2002. The most handsome campus grass in the past 10 years of the Film Academy. For this kind of praise, Zhang Yuanjun just smiled. Cai Yinong continued, why haven't you thought about signing a company? Have Huai and Rongxingde both approached you? Of course, after the National Day in 2002, Zhang Yuanjun received a call from Wang Jinghua. Zhang Yuanjun explained, I'm not in a hurry to sign a company. I want to learn something first before filming. Cai Yinong, Li Guoli, and others only believe half of this statement. Believe what he said you want to learn before making a movie. In fact, Zhang Yuanjun's overall demeanor can determine his general family background, and this confidence and composure are not something that ordinary families can cultivate. This kind of person is not easily bound by signing a company, just like the female protagonist Liu Yifei. Cai Yinong's plan is to trade Zhao Linger's role for Liu Yifei and sign with Tang Ren. The specifics are still being discussed. Cai Yinong continued, our play has just started, and I'm not hiding it from you. Our male lead has not been found yet. We have reviewed your profile and think you have good conditions in all aspects. We would like to invite you to try Li Xiaoyao. Zhang Yuanjun smiled and said, I have never acted before. It doesn't matter if we haven't acted before, Li Guoli continued. Our team is very mature, and even as newcomers, we can teach well. If it weren't for Zhang Yuanjun's experience, he would have almost believed Li Guoli's words. Teamwork, Tang Ren's grassroots team is not as good as Zhou Yi's. Cai Yinong didn't expect these few words to impress Zhang Yuanjun, so he suggested, why don't you try on your clothes and see your appearance first? Cai Yinong didn't ask Zhang Yuanjun if he was willing to act, but directly pushed him to try on his makeup. Due to time constraints, Zhang Yuanjun did not put on makeup or wear a headband, only changed into Li Xiaoyao's clothes and soared in the drama. Tang Ren's dress code has not been considered good in the industry, and it is obvious that he has a beggar's style. Even if his aesthetic is not online, it is not good, and the quality is still not good. Zhang Yuanjun looks like a young leader of the beggars sect. But Zhang Yuanjun's upright posture, perfect body proportions, and handsome face forcefully exuded a rebellious chivalry in this beggar costume. Cai Yinong and Li Guoli dared to pat their chests and say that they had seen countless actors, handsome men and beautiful women, but Zhang Yuanjun's ancient costume was one of the most stylish they had ever seen. Cai and Li exchanged a glance and whispered a few words to Wu Jinyuan. The three of them all thought this was Li Xiaoyao they were looking for. This appreciation was also sensitively captured by Zhang Yuanjun. Cai Yinong just repeated what he had said before, saying that he met Li Xiaoyao's requirements very well. I think you can consider it. Cai Yinong's tone remained faint. If she wants to take the lead in this negotiation, she cannot show excessive enthusiasm and eagerness. You are still in school, and being able to play the lead role during your time at school is a very good opportunity. Cai Yinong clearly did Zhang Yuanjun's homework and said, I know you're preparing for an audition for #1 in the world. But even if the character Gue Haidao is outstanding, it's only one of the 4 main characters, and the role will inevitably be divided by the other 3 main characters. Li Xiaoyao is the undisputed male lead in The Legend of Sword and Fairy. Have you played the game Sword and Fairy? Zhang Yuanjun shook his head and said, I haven't played before. It doesn't matter if you haven't played it before. Li Xiaoyao is also a great hero and it's very interesting to play. Zhang Yuanjun was really thinking about Cai Yinong's suggestion in his mind, but he was not overwhelmed by the joy of playing the lead role in his debut. Instead, he calmly asked Cai Yinong, what are the conditions if I agree to play Li Xiaoyao? Conditions. Cai, Li, and Wu did not expect Zhang Yuanjun to raise this question. Zhang Yuanjun explained with a smile, I don't think I'm the kind of person who brings good luck from heaven. If you give me this protagonist, you must still have conditions. Cai Yinong saw maturity in the young 19-year-old boy in front of her, and she began to look at him seriously. I hope you can sign with Tang Ren and become an artist in our company. The signed contract has been submitted. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. After leaving you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. After leaving, Cai Yinong believes that no performance student can refuse his invitation. But today, she was rejected by a 19-year-old sophomore student who said, I won't sign for a brokerage firm for now. You don't need to reply to me so quickly. You can consider it carefully. After all, this is a rare opportunity that may affect your lifelong career in the entertainment industry. Cai Yinong still patiently advised. Zhang Yuanjun certainly knows what it means to play Li Xiaoyao, and he also knows that Cai Yinong is not lying. The role of Li Xiaoyao is indeed related to the actor's lifelong career in the entertainment industry. Li Guoli, who was beside him, was equally satisfied with Zhang Yuanjun's appearance and advised him, you can call back to ask your parents for their opinions. Signing a company contract is a big deal after all. Zhang Yuanjun saw that the other party had given him enough time to consider, so he took his words back a bit and said, okay, I'll consider it and ask my parents for their opinions. The news of Zhang Yuanjun auditioning for Li Xiaoyao spread like wildfire. I heard that Mr. Cai and director Li personally auditioned. I'm from the 02 Film Academy. I'm so handsome. Mr. Cai is extremely satisfied with him. Liu Yifei is even more proud of this news. I recommend it. In fact, she just helped Cai Yinong call someone, and Zhang Yuanjun's information was already on Cai Yinong's desk. So, the next morning, a group of classmates from Zhang Yuanjun came to the production team to officially visit Liu Yifei, and many of them intentionally or unintentionally glanced at Zhang Yuanjun. It's really quite handsome. However, after finishing lunch and the production resumed, Zhang Yuanjun took a taxi from Hengdian and went home. Upon learning the news, Cai Yinong sighed slightly and said, it was fate but fate. Such a good seedling will definitely become popular in the future. It is a pity that Zhang Yuanjun cannot be signed, but there are more important things for her to do at the moment. Just sign Liu Yifei. The female lead has given it all, but if you don't believe it, you can't pry open her mother's mouth. The most regrettable departure of Zhang Yuanjun is Cai Yinong, and the most angry one is Liu Yifei. She only found out that Zhang Yuanjun had returned home after finishing the play at night and having dinner with Zhu Yan, Luo Jin, and others. After finishing the meal, lock yourself in the room to sulk. I'm so angry. I also recommended him to Mr. Cai, but he didn't know how to cherish it at all. The opportunity to play the male lead is so precious. Which male actor can play the male lead in school? This person is really at a loss. Don't you just look down on Li Xiaoyao just because you're handsome and wealthy? Why, are you acting with me to show off his talent? When Liu Yifei was still cursing Zhang Yuanjun in the room, saying, what's so remarkable? I don't even want to have a character inserted in the final report. Look at him like that, I hate him so much. Zhang Yuanjun had already dragged his suitcase into the house. Where's my dad? Zhang Yuanjun put down his bag, washed his hands, and ate. Go to the devil and have a meeting, my mother said. Regardless of him, it was his last business trip before the new year. Let's have dinner. The mother specially kept the food for her son to come back and eat together. The boss and the second brother still can't come back. Zhang Yuanjun went home from vacation and didn't specially prepare meals for him. Instead, his mother personally cooked 2 dishes, 1 meat and 1 vegetable. They just want to come back, but they can't come back. My mother said while eating, I just said not to send them abroad. The whole family can't even make it through the new year. They can't even eat the food at home, there's nothing good to eat outside. One important reason why mothers are reluctant to let their older brothers and sisters go abroad is that they cannot reunite during holidays. The 2 little ones don't come back many times a year, and the food outside is not as good as at home. Speaking of this, my mother complained, there's a time difference on both sides, and it's not easy to make phone calls. Actually, it's mainly because it's difficult to keep in touch with my older brother in the United States. My second sister is in France, and the 7-hour time difference between China and France is not too inconvenient to contact. If you want to think of them, Zhang Yuanjun calculated the time and said, just go there during the summer vacation. Once you get on the plane and take a nap, you'll be there. If you want the boss to go to France, don't let the boss go to the United States. Anyway, they're also on vacation. I won't go, Zhang's mother said reluctantly. The two little ones need to have a conscience and come back on their own after vacation. Do you want me to go? Zhang Yuanjun had another idea. How about you open a store in the United States and France, and then go on a business trip in the future? Zhang Yuanjun just said this, but unfortunately, his mother really listened. Years later, the catering industry of the Zhang family became prosperous overseas, and Zhang Yuanjun always felt that he had contributed to it. Zhang's mother is also quite busy. If it weren't for her son coming back today, she wouldn't have arrived home so early. After finishing his meal, Zhang Yuanjun also said that he would be a good boy and sit with his old mother, watching TV for a while. Unexpectedly, after finishing her meal, Zhang's mother went out to do some business and said she would not come back until late at night. There are only Zhang Yuanjun and the nanny left in the house of Nuoda. Zhang Yuanjun felt bored and found a CD in the drawer of the TV cabinet, put it in the DVD, poured a cup of hot water, and sat down on the sofa, enjoying it. Nowadays, online downloading is not very popular, and buying CDs is still mainstream. As for whether it is genuine or not, it is bought for 10 yuan per disc at a music store on the roadside with inexplicable music. There is not much emphasis on it. Zhang Yuanjun opened his eyes for half an hour before his eyelids began to fight. Auntie urged him to wash up and go to bed early when she saw him tired. Zhang Yuanjun agreed verbally, but had no intention of getting up. I don't know what kind of movie it is on TV, it's probably a disc that my dad bought casually. The text message prompt on the phone temporarily startled away Zhang Yuanjun's drowsiness. It was Luo Jin who sent him a message saying, "You're dead. Liu Yifei has a grudge against you." She left without saying goodbye until she had dinner tonight, cursing and cursing. Zhang Yuanjun replied to him, "The little girl's family has a big temper, don't worry about her." Zhang Yuanjun is not used to Liu Yifei's small arrogance. But what he didn't know was that Luo Jin sent the text message in front of Liu Yifei. Zhang Yuanjun's reply was noticed by Liu Yifei without a word falling in her eyes from the little girl's house. Has a strong temper. Liu Yifei felt a surge of anger surge into her chest. She must vent it today, otherwise she won't be able to continue in class in the future. Then, without hesitation, she took out her own phone and poked the phone over. The first sentence to speak is, "Please explain to me clearly, why am I so angry?" Zhang Yuanjun didn't panic at all when he received the phone call, but instead teased her, "You see, you're like this now, why don't you call yourself irritable? I was forced by you. I just said one thing, you just called me and scolded me, saying you don't have a temper." If Zhang Yuanjun can't get around her, then don't mess around. But Liu Yifei is also a ruthless person. She wouldn't listen to Zhang Yuanjun's words, "I don't care, you have to apologize to me." Why should I apologize to you? Zhang Yuanjun felt that he was also sick and had a phone fight with a 17-year-old girl at night. Both generations have lived to be dogs. Liu Yifei saw that he didn't apologize, so she flipped through the old accounts of the day and asked him why he didn't accept Kai Yinong's invitation. "She wants to sign me, but I don't want to sign with a brokerage company. It's just that simple." Zhang Yuanjun explained. "What a great opportunity for the male lead, it's just gone. Aren't you regretful? It's a pity. No one believes it, but it's just a male lead. I'll be able to play it sooner or later. Zhang Yuanjun has a great mentality. Do you know that after you left, 2 students from the Magic City Drama Academy came this afternoon? I heard that one of them tried Li Xiaoyao, and Mr. Kai also liked it and wanted him to act. Liu Yifei was about to say that there was still time for you to regret now, but unexpectedly Zhang Yuanjun continued, if he's good, let him act. Not to mention, I've been on the road all day and I'm so tired. I'll take a shower. Liu Yifei's teeth were almost crushed as she listened to the busy beeps on the receiver. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Return to Hometown Book 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Return to Hometown Book 1. It's strange, leaning on the sofa makes you want to sleep. After taking a shower and lying in bed seriously, Zhang Yuanjun is so spirited that he can kill a cow. His eyes widened like copper bells, staring blankly at the ceiling. Zhang Yuanjun pondered many things in a daze. In a daze, the phone rang again. Zhang Yuanjun got angry at once. Just about to sleep, who is so lackluster, disturbing people's dreams? I took my phone and saw that it was an email from France, and I also see a US email. When will Pony create a penguin colony? It's too troublesome to use email for multiple contacts, and it's also inconvenient to use chat rooms for foreign countries. My sister, who is far away in France, sent an email just to know that my younger brother is coming home today and would like to greet him as usual. It's already 12 o'clock at home in broad daylight on your end. Can you say anything tomorrow? From this line of text, you can see Zhang Yuanjun's fatigue and dissatisfaction with the boss and the second person messing and disturbing Haoman in the middle of the night. Second sister Zhang Yuanying asked him if there was anything she could do, but she said, you can send me and my boss some food at home, such as cured meat, sausages, and duck. Send more. Just for this matter, you called me up in the middle of the night. Even if you don't say, Mom won't, I'll send it to you. My younger brother sent more fragrant and delicious, be good. Zhang Yuanying, who was far away in France, didn't receive a reply email from her younger brother. I think she fell asleep impatiently. The next day, Zhang Yuanjun told his mother about what he had told his older brother and sister last night. My mother just started preparing and scolded her children while tidying up, if we don't come back for the new year, we'll eat mine instead. Zhang Yuanjun and his nanny played tricks on his mother and said, they buy all these things in Chinatown, they just buy them themselves. They insist on eating what's at home, it's so beautiful for them. Can you have your own delicious food when you buy it outside? Your sister likes to eat preserved meat. She stuffed 2 more preserved meat into her bag. This year's sausages are not good, there's too much fat, and your father doesn't like it very much. Add more decoration to the boss. Why don't you pack a few more sausages for the second one? Sister's bag only has 2 hanging sausages. Why do girls eat so much fat at home? Who wants her if she gains weight? Just eat 2 pieces to satisfy her craving. Hey, put a few pounds of melon seeds in it. It's done well this year, and the salt is just right. Before Zhang Yuanjun left, his mother still reminded him, this belongs to the eldest and this belongs to the second, don't mix it up. I know. The logistics cost is more expensive than these 2 packages. We can't keep all these good things for ourselves to eat. Why feed them both? You dare to say that only when your sister is not here. You have the ability to speak in front of your sister and see if she doesn't hit you. Zhang's mother watched him go out. Packaging and sending air logistics, Zhang Yuanjun has put in a lot of effort, so the boss and the second have to pay a price. So that night, Zhang Yuanjun contacted his dear older brother and second sister. I told them about the embarrassing situation of liking a character but not having the money to clear the way. Aren't parents giving money? My dad really wants me to not be able to film at school. When I graduate, he will have a reason to take me home, so he won't give me money. How much do you still need? Asked the older brother. I only have 200,000 in my hands now, so I estimate it will cost around 700,000 to 800,000 to handle. Where can I get you 7 or 800,000 yuan? Said the second sister. If you asked me half a month earlier, I could have given you the money. The older brother still spoke warmly, but I've been working on a project with my classmates recently, and all the money has been invested. It's okay, I'll figure out how to deal with the money. I'll call you back when school starts, and if it's okay, I'll tell my parents I need the money. Finally, the second sister asked one more question. What kind of crew are you? Are you reliable? Can't you audition based on your skills? Do you still have to rely on connections and connections? It's not a big problem for me to go to the film academy as a general supporting role. I try to play the leading role this time. I'm a student who has never acted in a film. It doesn't cost me any money. Why should people let me play the leading role? The truth is that Zhang Yuanjun's methods are not straightforward, but his older brother still encouraged him. It's better to have connections than not, but we also need to have our own abilities. Otherwise, if we mess up, we will also be sorry for the work of hundreds of people on the set. I know, if I don't have the confidence to perform well, I won't have the face to leave this relationship. As long as you have confidence, I'll handle the money issue. You stay at home and spend time with your parents. During his time at home, Zhang Yuanjun did not slack off. I haven't made any martial arts films before, so my actions are definitely my biggest weakness. So in the past few days, Zhang Yuanjun specifically sought out a coach from a local martial arts school to learn some basic movements. He also specifically asked the coach to teach him a set of punches. Fancy airs, but playing it at least made people feel prepared. Zhang Yuanjun was tall, and his coach taught him a set of back-to-back punches, which crackled and looked really nice. On December 28, my father returned from another city. I'm not interested in ordering New Year's Eve dinner outside yet. The Zhang family's restaurant has run out of business at this time. As soon as my father came back, he paid the company employees for leave. Zhang's father is a very traditional strict father, but now that his children are all grown up, there is no need for him to discipline them, and his temper has become much more restrained. As usual, I asked him about his homework at school and said, I won't let you learn acting, and you won't listen either. Now that you've learned, let's work hard. Zhang Yuanjun listened with good words, but without saying a few words, his father changed the topic and said, you can't fall behind in your studies, but you should also pay attention to your personal matters. I'm only 19, said Zhang Yuanjun. What's wrong with 19? Our family started dating at that time. Your aunt was pregnant with your sister at 19. At a critical moment, it still depends on my mother's words. In what era is it now? You still talk about this. People nowadays read until their 20s or 30s, so don't teach them recklessly if you don't understand. I didn't want him to get married now. We can talk about it for 2 or 3 years and bring it back after graduation. Getting married early is still better. Let's start a family first and then start a business. If you have the time, why not urge the boss? The boss is 24 and it's time to get married. Zhang Yuanjun decisively sold his big brother who was far away in the United States. I have plans for his affairs. Zhang's father lit a cigarette and turned to his wife. Secretary General Zhao's daughter is also studying in the United States, half a year older than her. Their family also wants to get married early. Last month, they said they could get to know each other. Zhang's mother's eyes moved away from the TV and said, I've seen that girl before. She looks like she's just a little short. It's not short either, it's almost 1.6 meters. My father has a setback, my mother has a setback. My mother values her appearance more. Secretary General Zhao's family has never had anyone over 1.7 meters tall. The eldest is 1.8 meters tall, just like Wushu, with such a short one. I'm worried that future generations won't grow tall. Once you get to know each other, you'll think of future generations. My father also disagrees with my mother's point of view. As parents, we should introduce ourselves in the middle. Whether we succeed or not depends on the two of them. After the Chinese New Year, I'll tell Secretary General Zhao to let the two young people meet first in the United States. That's okay. My mother didn't have to stop me too much. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Return to Hometown Book 2. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 7. Return to Hometown Book 2. After the three siblings became sensible, the situation at home has greatly improved. Parents attach great importance to education, so each of the three siblings learned an art. I don't pursue this as my career, I just hope to learn something elegant to cultivate my character. The boss chose music and played the piano and violin very well. Although he eventually learned computer science, he didn't use music from elementary school. The second son Zhang Yuanjun can draw, and now he is studying design in France, so he doesn't waste the ink and brush he wasted when he was a child. Zhang Yuanjun's third grade primary school has a calligraphy class, which is held once a week. He has been writing calligraphy for over a decade, until now. My father greatly admires Zhang Yuanjun's calligraphy studies. He loved writing when he was young, but when he was studying, he had no conditions and could not learn systematically under a good teacher. Zhang Yuanjun studied calligraphy, but he had been practicing diligently with the teachers from the local calligraphy association for several years. In previous years, the Spring Festival couplets were written by my father. This year, I made an exception and asked Zhang Yuanjun to write. You can write about the gate and see if you have neglected it this year. Well written, I will give you a few hundred extra New Year's money this year. On the table lay red paper sprinkled with gold, with pens and ink ready to be placed aside. What will be written this year? You read and write, you want to appreciate both refined and popular. Father intentionally tested Zhang Yuanjun. That's not easy. The door of Heshuan has 100 blessings, and the word peace is worth 1,000 gold. Zhang Yuanjun opened his mouth and came. My father exclaimed, this couplet is even older than me. How many years have you been writing it? Happy to live in a precious land for thousands of years, blessed to bring prosperity to every family. It's too vulgar. Did you learn these things at school? Father Zhang had to re-examine the knowledge in his son's stomach. I have an elegant one. The water flows rapidly and the environment remains calm. Although the flowers fall frequently, their thoughts are leisurely. There is no noise in the horizontal carriage and horse. Zhang Yuanjun was very proud of this couplet. But the father was still not satisfied. Elegance is enough, but it's more like a couplet from the study. It's not appropriate to stick it for the Chinese New Year. If you are vulgar, you may find it inappropriate, but if you are elegant, you may say it's not appropriate. The mother supported her son on the side. Zhang Yuanjun's mind twitched and he smiled, saying, I have a couplet that is both popular and elegant. Set off 1,000 firecrackers and bake the poor. For several years, I have been harassed and exhausted by this little servant. Burn 3 sticks of high incense and bring in the god of wealth. From now on, may your old master bless me with 100,000 yuan to wrap around my waist. How can there be more than enough ointment to moisten the spring cold? How about I dare to write and you dare to post? Zhang Yuanjun joked. The Spring Festival couplets all over the street don't mean that, I'll write them with you. Father also smiled. My mother teasingly said, as a high school graduate, what kind of knowledge do you put in front of college students? Just let your son write and I'll stick whatever he writes. My father said, how could I have the opportunity to study in my 70s? 8 out of 10 people in the village who are my age are illiterate. I have a high school degree, but if it weren't for the policy at that time, I wouldn't have been able to get into college. I'm not willing to say a few words about you anymore. I've been talking about this trivial matter for decades, and I'm tired of it. Hurry up and write it, post it, and I'll go cook. After my mother finished speaking, she turned around and entered the kitchen. After the father and son finished writing, they carried a small ladder and Zhang Yuanjun pasted the Spring Festival couplets. Zhang Yuanjun did not celebrate the Chinese New Year in the north, but in his hometown, it has never been like what the Spring Festival Gala said. People across the country eat the New Year's Eve dinner while watching the gala. Zhang Yuanjun's family started eating at 4:30 p.m. before it was even dark. Zhang Yuanjun accompanied his parents to drink some wine. Halfway through the meal, both parents' phones rang. No need to think, it must be the boss and the second person who agreed to call back. Do you still remember last year, which was the first year my second sister spent Chinese New Year abroad, crying loudly on the phone accompanied by 30-year-old firecrackers? This year, Zhang Yuanjun made fun of her again with this incident, and Zhang Yuanying was so angry that he shouted on his phone. "Mom, hit him for me." My mother slapped Zhang Yuanjun hard on the back and said, "You dare to shout through your phone? If you have the ability, wait for her to come back. Home is often filled with trivial and nutritious things." My mother told a pair of children on the other side of the ocean over the phone what dishes she had prepared for this year's New Year's Eve dinner. "I'll eat with your father and third son. We didn't cook much, we only had 6 bowls. Your aunt's Lin Lin has brought her boyfriend back for the Chinese New Year. Don't forget to call your grandmother and grandparents to pay New Year's greetings. Half a month ago, you asked the boss if he will come back this year. It's better to celebrate the Chinese New Year with Chinese friends, it's lively. Also, have you received the things we sent you too? If the school is unable to open fire, you can take them to Chinatown and pay some processing fees for them to do. Don't be stingy, ask a few classmates and teachers to eat together. Have you heard me?" I heard it, the 2 big Zhang family members said in unison. "Tell your dad." "I have nothing to say," Zhang's father said on the phone, not knowing what to say. "Don't cause trouble outside, study hard. That's it. Hang up, I'll eat." "You're a tough person," my mother scolded my father after hanging up the phone. Last night, I sighed and said that the 2 older ones were not around and the house wasn't lively enough. Now I'm asking you to say that you're not talking. No one is around, what do I say over the phone? Eat and eat. After dinner, my father sat in the living room and smoked before going out. "Who's going to play cards with again?" My mother said as she tidied up, "The chairs at home are so hot that I can't sit down for a minute." The mother put the dishes into the sink, wiped the table clean, and asked her son, "Are you going out later?" "I'm not going out, I'm watching the Spring Festival Gala." Zhang Yuanjun's buttocks were already sitting on the sofa, ready to use the remote control to turn on the TV. "Okay, you wash the dishes. I'll go out for a trip." "You're also going out to play mahjong, my dad," Zhang Yuanjun laughed. My mother didn't listen to him at all, smiled, changed her shoes, and went out. Zhang Yuanjun said to himself that in this situation, watching the Spring Festival Gala may give you a different feeling. But after watching a few programs, there was no fluctuation in my heart. After all, it was the huge entertainment resources of his past life that spoiled his taste, and Zhang Yuanjun showed no interest in this evening party. The TV was on, firecrackers were popping outside the window, and Zhang Yuanjun's phone began to jingle. All of them are New Year's greetings messages sent by classmates and friends, and those who are interested will send them in a text message. There is no such thing as a bad habit of not getting back in batches now, but Zhang Yuanjun doesn't have the patience to reply one by one. So I also edited a text message. Do you know that there were 2 great figures in ancient China? Confucius and Laozi. So, when Confucius couldn't solve any problems in this world, Laozi helped you solve them. The new year is here, and I'm here to wish you a happy new year. Haha, don't think wrong, I'm sending you blessings. You should feel honored. Okay, select contact person, mass send. Hengdian, the crew of Sword of Legends, are still working hard during the Chinese New Year, but they finished work earlier today. Liu Yifei was lying in her room, flipping through a New Year's greeting message from a friend. When she saw Zhang Yuanjun's message, she giggled and laughed. "This person is too funny, isn't he?" Then he replied, "I wish you a happy new year too, hee hee." End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Introduction. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Introduction. According to the tradition of Lao Zhang's family, starting from the third day of junior high school, we have to eat every meal of our uncles and aunts. I will have this lunch for the third day of junior high school at home. There were 6 people in Zhang's father's generation, but the same generation had no reason to come to visit. On this day, all of them were Zhang Yuanjun's brothers and sisters, namely his father's nephews and nephews. My mother cooks meals for these days all year round, but this meal has been prepared since the night before and I have to wake up early to prepare fresh ingredients. Because Zhang Yuanjun was preparing for an audition in the new year, he had been controlling his diet after indulging in a few wild meals in the first few days of his return. During the Chinese New Year, he didn't eat much, which caused complaints from his family and friends. Even his father scolded him for really disappointing. Zhang Yuanjun didn't plan to talk to his family about filming so early. He just said, there will be a test for the physical education class at the beginning of the school year. It's difficult to explain when you eat too much. But Zhang Yuanjun's craving is true. Eating so little at every meal is neither satisfying nor satisfying, so he can only drink more hot water. According to family rules, even if someone who hasn't started a family becomes an elder, they don't need to give red envelopes during the Chinese New Year, which has saved Zhang Yuanjun a lot of money. You don't need to give it, but you can accept it if you don't have it either. After the age of 18, apart from his parents' annual red envelopes, Zhang Yuanjun never received any more red envelopes from his elders. I ate until the 5th day of junior high school, and when I came back in the evening, Zhang Yuanjun told his parents that he wanted to return to school early. I took a few advertisements before the new year and I want to shoot them. You always say you shoot commercials, why haven't I seen it before? My son often says on the phone that he shoots commercials and videos, but my parents have never seen my son's work on TV. My advertisement was offline, similar to shooting a picture newspaper. When shooting in Beijing, they don't have the ability to push it to us. It's normal not to have seen it. How much money can you make by shooting such an advertisement? Asked the mother. Let's look at the merchants. The more generous ones are around 2,000 to 3,000, and the average one is around 8,000 to 9,000. Zhang Yuanjun said while tidying up his clothes, your son has good conditions and is known as the advertising prince. He is quite famous in the modeling industry in Beijing, and can earn 5,000 for one advertisement. In a time when college students generally only had a monthly living allowance of 400 to 500 yuan, Zhang Yuanjun could earn others a year's worth of money with just one advertisement. No wonder others say he is the second richest person in the 02-meter book. Who is the first one? Guess what? How profitable it is to shoot advertisements. My mother was still shocked by this number. No wonder beautiful girls and boys are all going here. Not everyone can make money. You watch those clichés on TV. What is a dragon suit? It's the unnamed people who walk around as background behind the protagonist, earning a cruise meal every day, which is also painful. The father added, I also know that if everyone wants to earn this money, then everyone will have to become actors. So my son is doing pretty well. It's okay, Zhang Yuanjun felt a bit proud. It's okay in class. Call your sister in law before you leave and let her know. The next meal is up to her, she won't be able to eat. I know. The next day, Zhang Yuanjun's family of 3 had lunch and his father drove him to the airport. My mother took a firecracker and set it up at the gate. After the Chinese New Year, I should have set it up when I was sent out. After setting off firecrackers, I also sat in the car with my son. The car was driving very slowly, and his parents were muttering to Zhang Yuanjun that in the new semester, he should listen to his teachers at school, study hard, and get along well with his classmates. I'm not short of your little money. Just shoot a few ads and understand the meaning. It's better to eat and sleep well, don't burn your body. If you want to go out and play ball, run, and exercise, your health has been poor since childhood. Give your brother and sister a few more phone calls. They don't have any relatives or reasons when they are abroad, and if they don't tell us something, we won't be able to ask. As your younger brother, you need to ask more questions. Zhang Yuanjun dragged his luggage into the waiting hall, and his parents also walked back. In the car, my mother muttered uneasily in the passenger seat, people say that having more children brings more blessings. Now that 3 of us are so old, I haven't enjoyed much. I can't come back many times a year. The father who was driving didn't think so. Can you still keep an eye on them? They're so old that they have to go out and see the world. Only those who don't have the ability will stay at home. Zhang Yuanjun landed in Beijing this afternoon and took a taxi back to school from the airport. In the middle of the year, the school has not yet started receiving students, and dormitories are not allowed to enter. Zhang Yuanjun didn't hesitate and temporarily stayed in a hotel near the school. After packing his luggage, Zhang Yuanjun began to inquire about Wang Jing's movements. Wang Jing has his own company in the capital called Xinwei. Although teacher Wang Jinsong is unable to directly send Zhang Yuanjun to Wang Jing's production team, it is not a problem to introduce the two to meet in the middle. After Zhang Yuanjun brought a bottle of wine and a cigarette to pay New Year's greetings to teacher Wang and had a delicious meal with him, teacher Wang agreed to his request. He said he invited me to drink, but you drank half of the bottle yourself. Teacher Wang let out a hiccup, you go back first. I'll ask you, and I'll call you when I get some news in a few days. Since entering the school, Zhang Yuanjun has shown a mature and steady demeanor, which has made many teachers, including Wang Jinsong, not regard him as a child who needs to be taught a lesson. Okay, I'll go back then. Don't drink anymore, you'll have someone to take care of you later. You kid, you taught me a lesson by drinking some wine. Let's go. Wang Jinsong took another sip of the wine and watched Zhang Yuanjun go out with blurred eyes. Teacher Wang will take action, but Zhang Yuanjun will not sit idly by. He could also shake a few people in the capital, and the next afternoon he found out that a director of Wang Jing Company was in the capital. He didn't know him, but some of his second-generation friends knew him. The director, according to his friend, said, I have honed my ability to flatter and flatter others, and have become a director by running around and getting to know a few people when I was young. I was able to secure some projects and sit in the position of director. In fact, I am full of rascals. I followed Wang Jing's side and didn't learn anything else. I am good at wine, sex, wealth, food, prostitution, and gambling. In recent years, I have caused a lot of trouble to the little girl. Whoever causes trouble is not related to Zhang Yuanjun's business, there are too many such things in this circle. What Zhang Yuanjun wants is for him to handle things for himself. These days, when seeking help, one is not afraid that the other person will take care of everything, but also afraid that the other person's oil and salt will not come in. This is certainly not a value worth advocating for, but often this trick really works. This director is passionate about running errands, so it's easy to make appointments. As an intermediary, my friend said to invite him to drink at night, but he agreed without asking. After receiving a confirmation reply, Zhang Yuanjun began booking hotels and nightclubs. Sister. Zhang Yuanjun doesn't get involved in this thing, but it doesn't prevent him from knowing the ways inside. Which of the dens above the capital level that Zhang Yuanjun doesn't know? Leave professional matters to professionals. Please make a phone reservation for 5 and see you tonight. As time approached, Zhang Yuanjun prepared to wash up. Ding dong, who is it? Yuanjun, it's me, open the door. A female voice. There will be more in the evening. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Enjoyment in the Wine Field. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Enjoyment in the Wine Field. I have already stayed in a hotel, and I wonder how this girl was found. No matter how hard you don't want to see someone, you can't leave them outside the door. Zhang Yuanjun opened the door for the visitor and welcomed her in, saying, "Did you not go home during the Chinese New Year? The heating in the room is really good," the girl said as she took off her bulky down jacket and threw it on the sofa. "I came back in the third year of junior high and stayed at my classmate's house." "Hey, why did you come this morning?" "I'll come back and shoot an advertisement." "I heard you want to play #1 in the world. Yeah." Zhang Yuanjun poured a glass of water in front of her, and many people knew about it. "You have something to do with me, it's okay. If there's something, hurry up and tell me. I'll go out later." "Can't I come to you if I have nothing to do? Are you so afraid of seeing me?" The girl stared at Zhang Yuanjun with her eyes fixed on her, teasing her. She wore a black sweater on her upper body and tight jeans on her lower body today, outlining a beautiful and smooth body curve. "No," Zhang Yuanjun said, "I've already told you that we're not suitable. There are so many handsome actors in your drama, and you have such good conditions. Even if you close your eyes and look, you can find someone better than me. This girl is a freshman from the neighboring school in grade 03. Before last summer vacation, the manufacturer invited advertising models to dinner, and the two met at the dinner table. Afterwards, they took the initiative to pursue Zhang Yuanjun. What's wrong with me, do you think?" The girl didn't give up. This is not comparable to Zhou Yang. After Zhou Yang failed to confess, he decisively cut off contact with Zhang Yuanjun, and the homework in the class was not arranged in the same group as Zhang Yuanjun. "I don't like girls with big mouths." "Okay," said Zhang Yuanjun. The girl knew immediately that Zhang Yuanjun was fooling herself. "You're lying to the ghost." Her mouth was a bit big, but her appearance and temperament were excellent, especially her long legs. She knew that many male classmates in the class often peeked at her beautiful legs, and she was also very proud of these legs. "I really have something to do later, so I won't be able to keep you. You take care of your affairs, and I won't disturb you. I want to take a shower. You should wash your clothes. Do you want me to give you a scrub?" "You leave the girl in the reception room in front," and Zhang Yuanjun turns to tidy up his clothes and take a shower. Zhang Yuanjun brought all the clothes and pants he needed to change inside and outside into the bathroom, then locked the door and started taking a shower. The girl took the initiative, but she didn't have the courage to knock on the bathroom door. Zhang Yuanjun calmly took a shower, changed his clothes, and spent a few minutes drying his hair. Zhang Yuanjun thought the girl would leave voluntarily, but she still sat on the sofa chair. Seeing Zhang Yuanjun tidy up, the girl stood up and said, "Where are you going?" "What are you talking about?" "I have made an appointment with the director of Wang Jing Company. I'll accompany you." "Auntie, if you have nothing to do, you can go back. Is that an occasion that you can interfere with?" "Why can't I go? You may not be able to drink better than me. This director is not only fond of drinking, but also lascivious. What if he takes a liking to you? Isn't it you?" "Me? After all, I'm just asking someone to handle things. If he wants me to let you go, then, will I let you go?" Zhang Yuanjun deliberately threatened her with more serious words. Seeing the girl feeling a bit timid, Zhang Yuanjun continued, "Think about it, what else can a group of men talk about after working together at night? There are things you haven't heard of or seen before. Taking advantage of the limited number of people these days, it would be great for you to wander around the capital. Do you insist on being big enough to accompany me to socialize? Is that where you are going?" Without waiting for the girl to speak, Zhang Yuanjun continued, "Let's go. I'll take you down and call a car to take you back." After seeing off the girl, Zhang Yuanjun himself took a taxi and rushed to the agreed restaurant. Two friends who are matchmaking will arrive first. The crowd had arranged for 6:30 p.m., but the three of them sat until 7 p.m. without seeing each other. Just complained a few words, and the private door opened. "I'm sorry," said a middle-aged man with a big belly and shrewd and vulgar eyes, "I'm too busy with work." "Have you been waiting for so long?" "Sit and sit." The person who came with him appeared to be his subordinate. Everyone exchanged pleasantries and took their seats separately. During the dinner, Director Chen fully demonstrated what is called a wine farm veteran. After 2 cups of wine, it's funny. He dares to say anything and brag. "Brother, we can't let the director choose all the roles for the play team. It's not up to us to do it. It's up to me the final say who the play team will use and who will not. Our company is planning to shoot 5 major dramas this year. That Wang Yuyan, what's her name? Liu Yifei," Zhang Yuanjun added on the side. "Yes, Liu Yifei, she called me a few days ago to ask for a role." "Just kidding, Liu Yifei's brokerage business is now handled by her mother and godfather. How could she possibly call him for a role?" But Zhang Yuanjun still praised the other party and said, "Is she going to play a role in the end? Can I just give her the character so easily? There are not even 10,000 or 8,000 people asking me for the character, and she still has to queue up." Director Chen drank another glass. This meal was considered a feast for him, and Zhang Yuanjun proceeded to arrange the second half. At the nightclub, this director was even more at ease. He and his 2 subordinates, 3 of them, and 5 professional girls were chatting and laughing, drinking and punching, and a few vulgar jokes made everyone burst into laughter. Zhang Yuanjun left for the restroom. "When I came out, I felt like there was a gaze constantly following me." Zhang Yuanjun quickly turned his head and looked back, and indeed saw a girl hastily hiding in the crowd. Zhang Yuanjun pulled the girl out and said, "Didn't I send you back? Why did you come with me on your own?" "Who came with you?" "I came to play by myself." Zhang Yuanjun was about to give a lesson when Director Chen came out for convenience and saw the 2 of them. "Oh, Brother Zhang, won't you introduce me to my brother?" The man's gaze scrutinized the girl from top to bottom without restraint. Zhang Yuanjun said, "This is my classmate." "Classmate, that's even more important. Let's go, brother, treat you to a drink today." Speaking was inconvenient, so I forced the 2 of them to go back and continue drinking. Even if Zhang Yuanjun blocked a few glasses of wine for the girl, facing such an old hand, the girl was no match at all, and within a few minutes, she was tricked out. "My name is Zhang Li. Students of Chinese opera. People from Guangxi province." Any rational person present knows that he is plotting against Zhang Li, and Zhang Yuanjun cannot sit idly by. "Isn't it good to drink, young master? I'll fight it out." Although Zhang Li is only a freshman now, she is not a pure-hearted little rabbit. She can understand the thoughts of this old man at a glance. So, with the intentional alliance of 2 Zhang, the 2 of them desperately poured alcohol into the man. The man, who had been in the tavern for many years, was not afraid of such a scene and thought to himself, "I can't even drink from you 2 student kids." He didn't let his subordinates block the drink either, toasting and drinking 1 cup at a time. He didn't refuse anyone who came, and he continued with everything. After drinking 2 rounds, he felt something was wrong. This man has a moderate to high alcohol tolerance and is not his match. But this student girl from Guangxi province is really good at drinking. After a few drinks, she doesn't blush or jump, and her tongue doesn't tie when speaking. He is a bit overwhelmed. "Brother, don't worry, it's just a character, it's up to me. It's this girl who wants a character, and I'll do it together. No need to audition, come back to the company with me tonight, we'll sign the contract immediately." I don't know how many girls were tricked with this trick. "Brother, with your words, I can rest assured. Come on, let's have another drink. I can't do it anymore." His mouth was already a bit flustered. "There's still something important to do tonight," so I can't drink anymore. Just drink one, the last one. Come on, come on. Finally, Zhang Yuanjun drank the wine hard. After drinking this cup, this activity is considered over. Zhang Yuanjun didn't mistreat them either. He called 3 cars for them, along with 5 younger sisters and 8 others, and sent them back to the hotel room. I stuffed a generous red envelope into his bag again, that's all for now. Have fun, everyone. In theory, tonight can be considered a happy drink for him, but I don't know if he will handle things for me. How about it? Do you regret coming with him? Zhang Yuanjun asked Zhang Li next to him, do you think he's something good? Zhang Li knows that if it weren't for Zhang Yuanjun taking the initiative to drink together tonight, she wouldn't have been able to drink more than her partner. If she encounters such a situation in the future, she can imagine the consequences. Although the other party's words may have some exaggeration, he is really the director of Wang Jing Company and he really has the power to speak. Can I, or any other girl who wants to play, really resist his temptation? I can tell with my toes that the other party must have used this trick to deceive countless little girls. Later, there's more. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Holiday Stories. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Holiday Stories. Beauty, whether male or female, is not lacking in the entertainment industry. A beautiful face is just an entry ticket to this industry. Zhang Li is very beautiful, but she is not the kind of stunning beauty that makes people unable to walk when they see her, so director Chen did not feel disappointed when he did not get Zhang Li. Last night, when 8 people were lying down, he had a great time and was very satisfied. People nowadays still have some professional ethics, and they can really get things done by taking advantage of it. Unlike in the future, there are many who eat black and take money without doing anything. This director really asked Zhang Yuanjun about Wang Jing's itinerary and the roles of the crew. On the other hand, after Zhang Li returned home, she began to re-examine her relationship with Zhang Yuanjun. The girl in Huichuan always hopes to meet a Prince Charming. He is tall, clean and refreshing, with a delicate face, preferably full of knowledge and talent. Zhang Yuanjun indeed fits all her imagination of the perfect lover of Prince Charming. But after last night, Zhang Yuanjun's image collapsed in her heart. He is not as mature as a 19-year-old boy at the table. His familiarity with that place, his mastery of persuasion techniques, and his ease in interacting with people at the wine court all reversed Zhang Li's image of Zhang Yuanjun. In neutral terms, Zhang Li thinks that Zhang Yuanjun is too smooth and worldly wise. In later words, it is greasy. Zhang Li thinks that Zhang Yuanjun is not as clean and refreshing anymore. After one night, she realized that she didn't seem to like Zhang Yuanjun so much anymore. A girl's heart is sometimes so sensitive and unpredictable. Zhang Yuanjun has no way of knowing what Zhang Li thinks. He learned early in the morning from teacher Wang Jinsong that Wang Jing would return to the capital the day after tomorrow to prepare for the launch of The First Under Heaven, which was scheduled to start in April. Teacher Wang found a highly influential director surnamed Chen from Wang Jing Company, who can act as a matchmaker for Zhang Yuanjun. Upon hearing what teacher Wang said, Zhang Yuanjun smiled and said, "Is the director you're looking for called Chen ****? Yeah. Why, do you know each other? I just had dinner with him yesterday." "We were looking for the same person," Zhang Yuanjun smiled. Teacher Wang laughed and scolded, "Little bastard, if you can find someone on your own, please trouble me. I thought I would also look for it myself. It's double insurance, but I didn't expect it to collide. This old boy has already received all his gifts." Wang Jinsong said, "All right. I know this person, although he is greedy for money, lustful, and has unclean hands and feet, he still abides by the rules. If he accepts your gift, he will definitely do something for you. You go back and wait for the news. Also, some students have already returned to school, and the faculty will start working tomorrow. The dormitory will open tomorrow. Don't stay in a hotel anymore, it's a waste of money and unsafe. Okay, I'll stay in the dormitory tomorrow, Zhang Yuanjun agreed and went back. Just as I walked out of the school gate, I received a bank message notifying me that I had received 1 million yuan. It seems that the boss got the money. Just as I was about to make a phone call to the United States, my older brother's call came over. I have transferred the money to you. Got it. The brothers are not used to saying thank you, I only want 800,000, why do you give me 1 million? Spend what you should and save what you should. After all, it's my elder brother who gave me money and I'll teach you a lesson. You keep the rest for yourself. Listen to the teachers at school and make good movies. I know. I have something else on my end, I'm hanging up. Men always speak so directly to the topic, concise and clear. With the money in hand, some things will be easier to handle. The next day, Zhang Yuanjun dragged his luggage back to the dormitory. As they were sweeping, Luo Jin and Zhu Yan arrived. The two of them didn't go home during the Chinese New Year and both encountered opportunities in major production groups such as Hengdian and Huairou. They rely on the reputation of Beidian and the recommendation of their teachers to avoid playing tricks. This is a sign of smashing the school. They were able to play the supporting role, but overall, they didn't have a comfortable time during the winter vacation. The three of them were cleaning the dormitory while Luo and Zhu were talking about their winter vacation experiences. Actually, I had prepared my thoughts before, but in reality, I was really surprised to see it. The female lead walked into the male lead's room without any hesitation after getting off the stage. I even asked the cameraman, does the director care? Guess what they said? They said, what does it matter? Everyone does it this way. Zhang Yuanjun asked unnecessarily, aren't you afraid that the crew members will speak up? Who has enough to eat and doesn't have anything to say about it? Besides, we are small and easy to talk about. Who believes in what we say? Luo Jin said. You're pretty good, to put it bluntly, you're called a couple on the set. To put it bluntly, you're called a couple on the set, but to put it bluntly, it's because of the show. The unmarried man and woman on the set didn't get married, and there's nothing to say about them getting into trouble. Zhu Yan said, I've heard about the group I joined. From director and deputy director to screenwriter, and then to photography and makeup, the female lead cleared the screen before starting up. Luo Jin asked in a low slush, didn't you find a cheap one? Am I that kind of person? Zhu Yan looked like a mouse with its tail stepped on. You pretend. Luo Jin knew something. On the evening of the third day of junior high school, I saw you take a taxi and didn't come back all night. Don't tell me you went to have supper. I had something to do with the crew, Zhu Yan said as someone grabbed her painful foot and her voice became quieter. Zhang Luo and Zhang Luo glanced at Zhu Yan with a look of, you can deceive your brothers, don't deceive yourself too. Zhu Yan wisely shut up and wiped the table with his head down. After cleaning the dormitory, the three of them went out to eat. Luo Jin said that he met several assistant directors during his winter vacation group run. If there are roles, we can work together. No one cares about the first in the world and returning to the sea. Why not sign Tang Ren? What a great opportunity. If you sign, you can play a protagonist like Li Xiaoyao. The two of them are still regretful for Zhang Yuanjun's rejection of Li Xiaoyao. I saw that boy named Hu, his image and temperament are far inferior to yours. I don't want to sign a company for the time being, Zhang Yuanjun said, citing the reason for 10,000 essential oils. This is why Luo Jin and Zhu Yan sometimes feel that they cannot get along with Zhang Yuanjun. Zhang Yuanjun sometimes has a perfunctory attitude towards certain things. Zhang Yuanjun sometimes has an indifferent attitude towards things they value. This relaxed and comfortable atmosphere makes them envious, but it also makes them feel a bit uncomfortable. Are you really planning to conquer Wang Jing? I'm not joking, saying that if you want to play the role of returning to the sea, you have to play the role of returning to the sea. Zhang Yuanjun once again expressed his intention to play the role of returning to the sea, seriously. One of the four main characters, what can't be played? Play this. I actually want to play Yonggua. Can you handle Big Beard? Zhang Yuanjun smiled. Last year, there was news of Big Beard filming The Legend of the Condor Heroes, and Big Beard did not deny it. He generously asked reporters to film him negotiating with local authorities for filming. I can handle the Big Beard, I'll do it myself and let you play Yonggua. Luo Jin laughed. Still, that's right. I'm quite satisfied with a single blow back to the sea. You're quite satisfied. How much skill do you have to deal with Wang Jing? The two joked, still not believing that Zhang Yuanjun could handle Wang Jing. I'll answer the phone. Zhang Yuanjun's phone rang. The person who called was Director Chen, who had a drink yesterday. He really managed to handle this matter and told Zhang Yuanjun that Wang Jing would return to Beijing the day after tomorrow. At 3 p.m. the day after tomorrow, he bought an hour of time and said, it depends on your own abilities whether you can handle it or not. Okay, we'll be together another day. Alright, you're busy. It's up to us whether we can make it or not, we'll know the day after tomorrow. Also. End of this chapter.